I've always been afraid of airplanes. I don't think I have like a legit reason for it. It's just the science behind it has never made sense to me, how something that big can just stay up in the air the way it does, especially with all the people on it and the luggage and everything else and turbulence and whatnot. It's never really made sense to me. Then you add in the fact that human error could cause a lot of issues, right? Then you add in the fact that after 2020, getting on an airplane was definitely scarier, especially because I've flown twice since 2020, and I can tell you after what I'm about to tell you now, I will never fly again. So 2020, we ended up going to Utah. My family and I went to Utah to go just kind of see what it was like and go meet another YouTube friend who lived in Utah, and we were going to ski and stuff like that. And I remember the flight back, everybody had to have a mask on. This was when mask mandates were still like a huge thing, right? And you had to have a mask for everything. So you're on this airplane crammed in like baby sardines, and you're wearing a mask to begin with. And then out of nowhere, they're like, all right, everybody can take your mask off so that you can have peanuts and a drink, which made no sense to me. That was, I mean, I already questioned the whole thing to begin with, but the second they're like, we're in this enclosed space and now you can all take your masks off so you can eat peanuts and have a soda or a water because, you know, the doesn't work while you're having a snack, I guess, did not make sense to me. And what made it worse was my nephew decided at some point after the whole snack thing was over that he was going to pull his mask down and finish his snack that he did not finish during everybody else's group snack time, right? So he pulls his mask down to eat the rest of his snack and drink his drink, and then forgets to put it back on. And a flight attendant literally yelled at him in the middle of this flight to put his mask back on and whatever else. And he was at the time maybe 10. So you've got a 10-year-old getting yelled at by a flight attendant because he didn't have his mask on because he was eating his snack. However, right before that, 99.99% of people had their masks off all at the same time, and it was perfectly okay at that point for everybody to have their mask off and eat a snack. But it was a problem when one person had their mask down and was eating their snack. Make that crap make sense. It does not make sense. Never did, never will, whatever. And we said, we're not going to fly again now because if this is what we have to deal with, it is definitely not worth it. Yeah, I want to see our country and I want to see other places, but not for, you know, getting reprimanded by a flight attendant over a mask because my nephew or somebody's eating a snack or having a sip of water. Definitely wasn't worth it. Well, 2022, we ended up getting on a plane again anyways. My husband and I got on a plane so we could fly to Los Angeles, California, so we could go to YouTube's Vid Summit and meet other creators and kind of, it was when the very beginning of us getting into YouTube, and we wanted to meet people and see what everything was like and really learn more, excuse me, about the whole entire platform, if you will. So we flew from Florida, actually flew from Atlanta to LA. And in 2022, flying was scarier than flying in 2020. There was no more mask mandate. You didn't have to have anything done to you to get on a plane, which is another reason why we ended up doing it, because you did not have to have the identification card, if you will, or anything saying that you had put some crap into your body that they mandated that I didn't think was worth doing, so we never did. And, you know, we could finally get back on a plane if we wanted to or whatever. So we decided to fly to LA. And it was a scary time for both of us, because this is about the same time where it came out that, you know, a lot of the airline attendants and, you know, the pilots, the flight attendants, the stewardesses, or stewards, whatever you want to call people who work on the planes, and the ones who work just in the airport itself, even the baggage handlers or luggage handlers, everybody had to have certain things done in order to stay employed. Whether it was Delta, American Airlines, Southwest, Spirit, whatever else is out there, Alaska Airlines, we'll talk about that in a second. You had to have these things done in order to stay employed. And a lot of pilots left, a lot of airline employees left because they didn't want to get these things done. So then these airlines are low on employees. They need more pilots, they need more stewardesses, they need more baggage handlers, they need more everything. So they decide to basically give you a crash course in flying a plane. Like, they wanted people in so badly that whoever was willing to take a, you know, whatever, they got a crash course in flying planes and whatever else. So you had to worry about somebody flying your plane that did not have the same amount of longevity behind or in a cockpit as previous pilots. Or you had to worry that the pilot in there could end up having a random heart attack in the middle of the flight, because that started happening left and right. Random heart attacks. And it's been happening to a lot of people, especially young children, which makes so much sense, right? But generally speaking, it's been kind of linked and correlated to that some people were enforced to get and some people were made to get by their parents and some people wanted to get because of their own free will. You do you, boo, whatever. So in 2022, we literally had to sit there and think about it. Is this something we really want to do? We are taking our lives, putting our lives on the line, whatever else. But we decided we were going to go anyway. Of course, there was a power of attorney made in case anything happened to us or our child was taken care of. But it's something we decided we can't live in fear. We're going to do this. We want to do this. So we went and did this, right? Well, now, y'all, let me just show you this. I want to show you this because this is Elon Musk. I don't know if I can get this to get any bigger than it is right here. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So this is going to be kind of whatever. Can y'all see this? This is a tweet from, is it still called a tweet now that it's X and not Twitter? I don't know. This is a whatever from Elon Musk on his platform on X, right? And it says, do you want to fly an airplane where they prioritize DEI hiring over your safety? This is actually happening. Now, for those of you who are not aware what DEI is, which if you're on this channel, I'm pretty sure we all know exactly what DEI is, but I'm going to spell it out just to be on the safe side. DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity means all the ways that people are different, be it gender identity, ethnicity, language, sexual orientation, disabilities, neurodiversity, socioeconomic status, age, religion, location, political perspective, or veteran status, okay? That is what DEI stands for, diversity, equity, inclusion. There has been a massive push in recent years to hire DEI, to hire based on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, the reason Elon Musk put this tweet out on X was because of what Boeing has done. And if you don't know what Boeing is, Boeing makes airplanes and all kinds of fun stuff. But the reason Boeing is important right now is because Boeing is the manufacturer of the Boeing, I think it was the Boeing 737 MAX 9, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure that's the plane that the Alaska airline plane that was flying from, I'm going to mess it up, Portland to Chicago? Oh, I might have that wrong. I might have that wrong because I didn't put that in my notes, which is dumb on my part, I know. I'm pretty sure Portland to Chicago. That sounds right. I could be wrong. If y'all know, leave it in the comments. I'm not 100% positive on that. Either way, this plane, Alaska Airline, which I don't know why it was in Portland to Chicago. I have so many more questions now. It was flying and a door ripped off the side of the plane. 3 miles up in the sky. Door rips off the plane. So then all the oxygen masks fall down. And of course, you know what they say, put your mask on first and then help other people. Even as a parent, you're supposed to do yours first, then help your child. Because if you help your child first and can't get to you in time, then your child is left without a parent. Okay. Still a tricky situation because as a parent, everything in me says help my kid first. I don't know what would happen in that situation, but I'm pretty sure I'd still help my child before myself. It's the parent in me. Anyway, so all these oxygen masks fall down. Everybody's got their masks on. They did say that the female who was flying the plane, when she called in the incident, they did not realize something was wrong because she was so cool, calm, and collected, which kudos to her. I would have gone batshit crazy, just so we're all fully aware. I would have lost my ever-loving mind. I am not great in certain situations, and something like that where people's lives are in my hands probably would have caused me to panic just a little bit. At least you would have heard it in my voice. I still would have been able to fly, but I would have panicked just a little bit. So she calls it in and says, hey, this is what happened, whatever else. Nobody was injured. Nobody got sucked out of the plane. So there's the silver lining of everything. Nobody was sucked out of the plane. One kid did lose their stuffed toy, which in my opinion sucks. All the people that were on this plane have been, I don't want to say reimbursed, but they've been compensated by Alaska Airlines, I believe it was, not Boeing, but by the airline itself with $1,500 per person as a way of helping ease their mental and emotional and physical distress from this incident, right? But the reason this is important to know about this door flying off this plane, here we are worried about pilots and everybody else having heart attacks mid-air when you should be worried about your plane just falling apart and going to absolute shit because Boeing is all about DEI. They're all about diversity hire. They're all about diversity, equity, and inclusion, which does not sound like a bad thing, generally speaking. I personally have always had a small issue with it, which to yourselves, you may be thinking, ma'am, that's weird given your family. You would think you would be all for DEI. No. I don't care about what people look like. I care about who is qualified for the job. It has never made sense to me that in order to get a job on your application, no matter if it's, at McDonald's or you're trying to become the CEO of Walmart, you want to be the next Doug McMillon, you have to put your race and your ethnicity and your gender and your, those are the only two things that really, whatever. To me, that doesn't matter. I feel like those were added on there. The race and your sex were added on there in a time of segregation, like back in the day where they did not want to accidentally hire a female or accidentally hire somebody who was not white. They didn't want to hire a black person or a Hispanic person or an Asian person or an Indian person or anything else. They wanted to ensure they were only hiring white men. Y'all can say what you want to on that, but look at the workforce before women decided they wanted to go to work or were forced to go to work because government and media manipulate things like crazy, and they want to make it seem like women are trying to, wear men's pants, but at the same time, they made it so women had to go to work because of wars. You see how this works. Anyway, but now we're in a time and age where I don't feel like we should have to say what our race is or what our ethnicity or your sex is when you fill out an application. Because if it wasn't about diversity and it was about who was best for the job, those two things would not matter. It would not matter if I'm an almost 42 next week year-old white female if I was the best for the job. But if I'm filling out an application and whoever's doing the hiring happens to have something against white females, I would immediately be out of the pool because of what they think of me personally, right? So here's the thing. Boeing's corporate filings with the SEC reveal that in the beginning of 2022, the annual bonus plan to reward CEO and executives for increasing profit for shareholders and prioritizing safety was changed to reward them if they hit DEI targets. If they hit diversity, equity, and inclusion targets, then they would get their bonus. Do you know what that says? Do you know what that does to production and to a company and to, one, morale, but also to the overall, what is the right word here? I guess safety is the word I want to use. The safety of the products they are making. You have gone from hiring the best for the job to hiring whoever fills that, okay, well, we need a black male, we need a black female, we need an Asian male and Asian female. Don't forget we need the transgender, the one who was a girl and now's a man, and the one who was a man and now thinks they're a girl. Then we also need to have the lesbian, obviously, got to have the gay guy. Don't forget the disabled veteran. Don't forget the whatever else. We have to include everybody. I really want my bonus. Are they good for the job? Who effing cares? I want my bonus. Well, are they going to build these planes accordingly so that they don't, fall apart midair? Who knows? Maybe, possibly. But I want my bonus. That's what happens when DEI takes over everything. So I went to Boeing's website just to see, because I wanted to see what was going on. So you go to their website, and the very first thing that comes up, can y'all see that? 2023 Global Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Report. No, that's great, Boeing. So I click on the report because I'm like, well, I need to know exactly what this says. So I click on the report, and I'm going to share it with you too, because you also need to know what it says. So here is the Boeing. This is their letter from leadership. Okay. I'm not going to read the whole thing because the beginning of it, it's just fluffer stuff. It doesn't matter. But here's what's important. Okay. You ready? Well, maybe we should read this whole thing. We should. It says, across Boeing, we continue to make progress on our commitments as we advance representation and inclusion company-wide. You think they changed any of their CEOs to also have inclusion? Do you think that their board of directors, who might be all men, decided, oh man, this isn't really inclusive. We're just a bunch of white men sitting around a round table. We should bring a woman in here. We should bring a black female in. Get the Asian female. Don't forget Paul, who is now Paula. Bring them in too. Put them on the board. Probably not. Probably not, because that would affect their pockets like that. Anyway, across Boeing, we continue to make progress on our commitments as we advance representation and inclusion company-wide. We know diversity must be at the table for every important decision our company makes, every challenge we face, every innovation we design. Equity, diversity, and inclusion are core values because they make Boeing and each of us individually better. We are on our way to achieving Boeing's 2025 aspirations and are committed to doing much more for many years to come. Women are over 24% of our workforce and are more represented at nearly every level compared to a year ago. Meaning, in just 1 year, they decided to make massive changes based specifically and solely on being diverse, equity, inclusiveness, whatever, okay? where are we? Compared to, including executive, manager, engineering, and professional ranks, as well as on the factory floor. Racial and ethnic minorities are now over 35% of our U.S. workforce and more represented in management, engineering, professional positions, and in the factory compared to a year ago. Business resource groups continue to grow, fostering professional development and business insights. In recognition of our BRG enterprise leaders' contributions to inclusion, we awarded each of them with restricted stock units in 2022, a practice we intend to continue well into the future. Also, in 2022, for the first time in our company's history, we tied incentive compensation to inclusion. Do you understand what that means? Again, it went from doing what's best for the company and hiring the people who would be best for the job, in theory, this is always in theory, to not caring who is best for the job as long as you tick the boxes on how many different colors you had in there, how many different sexes, how many different disabilities, how many different everything else you now have working for the company. That I know it sounds wrong coming from a white female, but it hurts companies in the long run when instead of basing things solely on who is best for the job, you base it on checking off boxes to make sure nobody's feelings are hurt because everybody feels included. It's the participation trophy of corporations, basically. So it says here, our goal was to achieve diverse interview slates for at least 90% of manager and executive openings. We exceeded that target with 92% of interview slates being diverse, resulting in 47% diverse hires at the management and executive levels. For 2023, we've raised the bar and expect at least 92.5% of those interview slates will be diverse. We do this not to hit a certain number, but because meritocracy, what? I don't know how to say this word. Meritocracy? Don't even know what that means. Demands the opportunity to compete. Progress is every teammate acting on our seek, speak, and listen habits. Progress is every teammate feeling physically and psychologically safe and ensuring that safety for each other. Progress is reflecting the diversity of the world's talent within our workforce. Progress is being the destination for great people to build amazing careers in aerospace. Progress is equity. Progress is diversity. Progress is inclusion for all and by all. Let me explain something to you. If you want to be inclusive, don't make it a thing where it's because you checked off a box. I mean, how many people out there want to get the job because they had a box to check off as opposed to because they deserved it? Which I know some people will say, hey, as long as I have a job, I don't really care how I got it. As long as I'm getting paid and I can support my family, and I fully understand that. But what happens when now a lot of colleges have stopped their diversity, their DEI enrollments? Companies are now going to stop their DEI hiring, in theory. What happens to the person who was hired part of DEI? Do they then canyon? They go, oh, okay, we don't need Paul who became Paul anymore. We're done with this DEI. Get rid of that person, and then bring in, somebody else. The problem with this whole thing, in my opinion, is it doesn't actually push inclusion and equity and diversion. What it does is it just divides everybody, because then you have people going, well, I'm the best for the job, but I didn't get it because I'm not gay. I didn't get it because I'm not trans. I didn't get it because I'm not disabled. I didn't get it because I'm not a veteran. And that causes issues. On the other hand, though, there always, of course, is two sides to every story, or two sides to every coin, or, double-edged sword, whatever phrasing you want to go with here. There are people out there who go, well, without this DEI initiative, I never would have gotten my foot in the door, because the second they saw black female on my application, they didn't want to look at it. But because they have to have a certain amount, I have a better chance. And to me, the problem isn't that you'd have to have those things to have a chance. The problem is that the ones in power generally want to hire people who look like them and think like them and talk like them and act like them. And that's our government. And that's kind of the problem, is it's not based on what is best for the company sometimes. It's based on what's best for them in the long run and their pockets. And the whole thing is just this smorgasbord of crap, in my opinion. The problem with hiring based solely on your skin tone, your sex, your sexuality, your abilities or disabilities, not abilities, but your disabilities, is it does not put the right person in the right place for a job. If you're telling me that in order to, let me just try to think of something, pull something out my butt for this one. Let's say you need you need a teacher. All right, you need a teacher. And the best person for the job happens to be a white male, is the best person for the job. But the school goes, we already have like 10 white guys teaching class. We need to diversity hire. We need Paul, who's now Paula. We need that person as the teacher. Well, do they have as many certifications and whatever else as this white guy did? Well, no. Have they been teaching as long? Well, no. Do they believe in the same core curriculum or core values that, we all do? Well, no. But we need to check off this box. So we're going to give Paul, now turned Paula, the job to teach our children and whatever else. I have a problem with that. Not because it's Paul turned Paula, although that to me is still one of the dumbest things in the history of things, but because the right person was not hired for the job. They hired somebody so that they looked better to everybody around them. And that is where the problem comes in. You have the wrong people being hired for the job just to check that box, and then all it does is deteriorate whatever they're working on or whatever they're part of. It brings deterioration. And some people will say I sound hateful, I sound whatever, and that's perfectly fine. Your opinion is yours, mine is mine. I just happen to be putting mine out on the internet for everybody and their mama to see if they have any interest in it. And I'm not going to change my opinion because these are strong beliefs that I have. I believe that the right person should get the job. I believe that there should be better ways for people to get in front of hiring people. And one way to do that is to eliminate sex and gender from your application. That should not matter. Your sex and your gender should not matter on an application. What should matter is the criteria that you meet or do not meet when it comes to whatever job you are applying for. I don't see why that is something that is so hard for corporations to grasp. You hire who is best for the job, not who, checks whatever box you're trying to check for the day so you can get your flipping bonus. Maybe it's just me. It doesn't make sense to me. So as of right now, I don't see myself getting on any airplanes or into anything that I can't control myself. I can control my own vehicle. No, I can't control the cars around me, but I can control how I drive. I can't control, how somebody else drives. I can't control a plane in the air, and that's terrifying to me. I don't see myself getting on a cruise ship again anytime soon, just because you just never know what is going to happen or what could happen and who's diverse hiring, DEI hiring or not. I know it's not a weird topic, but it's one that a lot of people don't want to talk about because they, I guess, are too afraid to voice their opinions or to have people look at them like they are some type of way or wrong or whatever else. But y'all, I don't care. Y'all look at me however you want to. I love you no matter what. Whether you like me or not, I still love you because that's just how I am. Doesn't mean you have to be the same. So the whole thing that made me want to do this or talk about this with you guys is because I was on YouTube and I was scrolling through, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen Amala Ekpanobi. I'm a fan of some of her stuff. She posted a community post that says, "Do you worry that air travel is becoming less safe due to diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in the industry?" And the answer is yes. I thought it was less safe when it came down to being jabbed or not. But it turns out I feel even less safe now that it's based on DEI than I did when it was based on the jab. And I know that that's two kind of sort of different things, but both of them put my life at risk in the long run. So I'm just saying, it's something that I think more companies need to really take a look at what they're doing and why they're doing it. If they're doing it to make the 1% of trans people in the community happy, that's a stupid reason to do it, Bud Light. If they're doing it so that they can get some sort of tax break from the government, we need to talk to the government about why there's a tax break needed in order to hire Black people or Hispanic people or Asian people. It should not take a tax break to get people hired. What should be done is that we need to hire and everything based on who is correct for the job, no matter what they look like. You can be a veteran and be the best person for the job. Being a veteran shouldn't be what gets you the job. Being the best person for it should be. I don't know how to really fully put it all into words that will make full sense to you guys because it's all just kind of running around wild and free up in my head right here, but it makes sense to me. And if you agree, I would love to know if you agree or disagree in the comments. I like the back and forth and I like the difference of opinions. I think it's good to have different opinions because if we all thought exactly the same, this would be one boring ass place to be. So, SquirrelTribe, thanks for letting me kind of, whatever this was. I love you immensely. I'm very thankful and grateful to all of you that you give me the ability to just talk about whatever I'm thinking of that day or whatever I want to bring to you It really does mean a lot. Some of you may not understand that, but as somebody who has a hard time being vocal in large groups of people, which I'm sure you're like, really? You'll notice I only record when I'm by myself. This gives me that ability to not hold back anything and to just be 100% authentically me. And I appreciate you for it, because you're affording me the ability to be who I am and not have to sugarcoat it or tone it down or do any of that kind of stuff. And unless you are like that, like me, and know what I'm talking about, you may not understand how it feels good for the soul. So thank you for making my soul feel good. Anyway, SquirrelTribe, I hope you're having a fabulous day. I'm going to see you again later, I'm sure. There's a couple of different things I'm working on. But if you don't come back, it's fine. I appreciate you being here for this. If you'd like to like the video, maybe subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it. If not, no harm, no foul. Not a big deal. Bunch of different links in the description if you guys want to check those out. And I'll see you again later. I love you all. Bye.